Hi, it's Lauren. We're here today with John and Dana in their recently remodeled kitchen to talk a bit about their new space and their experience with Cornerstone. So to get started, we'd like to know what inspired this remodel? What were your reasons for wanting to remodel the space?
Well, we wanted more space. We wanted better flow.
I think we really wanted to have a better space for entertaining, more storage.
Can you guys tell me a little bit about some of the design elements that you love the most in your new space?
Yeah, definitely the island.
Yeah, one of the things I knew I wanted in a new kitchen was a space for people to gather. We entertain in here, and our old kitchen had a peninsula. It was more set up for a single chef kind of doing their thing. And we had an eat-in kitchen over here. Honestly, I didn't think that I would be able to get an island in our existing space. I thought that was like a pipe dream that we would have to, kind of bump out the back of the house. What I love most about this is we got the island, but we also designed it so that we do have a little space for eat-in. I thought, to have put stools on the back. I knew that wouldn't work, but the fact that we were able to come up with this, we really love this. And John and I actually sit here to eat dinner every night when it's just the two of us.
When you don't want to mess up the dining room.
It's both prep space and eating.
Yeah. And so it's great. I love it.
Yeah, we got creative with this because we knew you wanted to have some seating in here. I remember we did a lot of measures and remeasures before we decided on this plan, just to be sure that things didn't feel too tight coming in from your garage.
Right.
I'm really glad we were able to get this for you because I know that was a big sticking point.
And now that we're in here, it does not feel tight. I was worried it would feel too small, and it does not feel that way at all.
It feels awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it really anchors the kitchen and becomes a space that people probably flock to when you have
people
when
we're hosting.
Oh yeah.
We can fit a ton of people around.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talk to me a little bit more about the pantry area too. We mentioned earlier that you had like a small pantry. It was actually on this wall here, and it was pretty shallow with some bifold doors, so we kind of scooted it around this way.
Yeah, our old pantry was deep enough to fit a can, so nothing ever went missing, but you also could not fit anything in it. So I love that we now have the floor to ceiling pantry. And then we also were able to, get a little coffee bar out of it and have some shelving, having some more storage, but also having like a designated place to do all of this that transitions into our dining room was also super important as well.
That's important. Yeah, we widened this doorway.
We did.
And kind of wanted to make that dining room a bit more of the kitchen, but still a separate space.
So in our old space, this was kind of where, our fridge stayed where it was, but our oven was over here, and it was just,
narrow.
It was narrow, and so you were constantly bumping into things. This now feels very like a walkway, and so it has utility, but it definitely connects the space, and you're not really bumping into people or, yourself as you're trying to work in your own kitchen.
So that was actually the biggest shift I would say that happened in this kitchen, was moving your oven from here over to this wall. So what we did here was, there were two windows. This is where the eating section was. We raised this window up and put the sink underneath, and then we brought that oven and the hood over to here, which also gave you an opportunity to add more to this. This is kind of really like the big function
I think
area.
the feature that we were missing the most, though, the microwave.
Yeah.
Which we did not have in the old kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the most debated things that John and I discussed, because he very much was like, we can just put the microwave above the oven.
Oh.
And I absolutely knew that I wanted a microwave drawer.
Right.
I wanted the hood. It was going to be the focal point of the kitchen. The microwave drawer is, fantastic. I am 5'2", and I didn't want to have to be reaching above to get things out.
And what's cool about it is you don't really lose a whole lot of storage in there. It still has that drawer underneath. So even though it goes under the counter and takes up cabinet space, which in this kitchen, we wanted to take every inch of cabinet space we could and maximize it, you still have some storage underneath of there, which is great.
I still have one drawer that's completely empty.
Oh
so like
God.
that's how organized and efficient the design was, that we were able to fit everything in. Like, we're not even using one of the drawers.
Music to my ears.
You don't realize how many things you have to pick out. Like, you think you know what you want in your kitchen, and then when the time comes to actually make those selections, it can get super overwhelming. And and I appreciated all of the back and forth that we shared. There were a few times where I knew what I wanted and you were like, I know what you want, but it's not that. You actually want this. I think it was like with the grout, like I wanted a bright white and I wanted it to look seamless. And you kind of came in with those recommendations on how to get that look. And I really appreciated that. And so
I told Dana, I was like, you know, Lauren really knows what your vision is.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, other people were telling us things that we liked. And then I was like, yeah, but she really understands what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it helps when a client has great taste.
Oh, well, thank you.
It can be a stressful experience, especially in a kitchen. Your whole house is torn apart. You're not able to live your daily life the way that you are used to, right?
Yeah, and we were also remodeling, you know, through Thanksgiving, through Christmas. And so, you know, a lot of things were out of all of our control.
Yes.
And so the fact that we were still able to really, you know, stay to the schedule and get it done and host Christmas
I
Eve.
know.
We did.
You told me that and I was like, are you sure?
And I
you
was
did,
like,
which
well,
is great.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Do you guys have any final thoughts or advice for future clients considering a kitchen remodel?
Do your homework.
Do your research.
Yeah, know what you want.
Know what you want. You don't want to feel rushed or pressured when the time comes to make those decisions. So it really helps to know what you want. I would say, you know, an added benefit is, you know, finding a remodeler that really has the in-house design. I think you know what you want or what you need, but really having that insight, I think, gets you a better design. And if you're already making the investment of doing the remodel, you want help in that regard that maybe you haven't thought of something. We've been homeowners for this year will be 4 years. And so, you know, it seems crazy to think about doing such a huge renovation when you've only been a homeowner for a short time and you only have lived in your house for a short time. But like a lot of us know right now, this market is very unique and what's happening is, you know, it's making it really challenging. And so I think, you know, a lot of people are finding if they're in a home, they're going to be there for a while. And we love our home and we love our neighbors and
we want to make it our space.
And we wanted to make it our space. And so we had this conversation of kind of now or never. And we both were like, we can do this. So like, what are we waiting for? Let's just do it.
Absolutely. And now you have all of this to enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For however long you want to enjoy it for, you know?
Now we're never moving.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us today. Stay tuned for more walkthrough videos, before and afters, and interviews with our awesome clients.